give the call to the honourable member for Menzies.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, the front page of today's Melbourne Herald Sun newspaper reveals the latest tragedy in relation to the Apex gangs in Victoria, a headline that says, "Apex killed my son." Unfortunately, tragically, hardly a week goes by in Melbourne now without the latest news about some outrage involving youth gangs. We saw the outrages at the Moomba Festival. We've seen more recently a youth stampede at the Somersault Festival in Caroline Springs. We've had police-warm families and people attending the White Night event to be on their guard in relation to these activities. And unfortunately, they continue. Deputy Speaker, there are three things which I suggest need to be addressed. First, we've had a policy for more than a decade now in Victoria of soft policing. Under at least two, if not three, Chief Commissioners of Police, this has been the approach of the Victoria Police Force. There is obviously a place for community policing, Mr Deputy Speaker. I know in my electorate there are wonderful activities carried out by the police force in relation to the community. But equally, there is a place for a strong and resolute reaction when you are dealing with groups of young people for whom any sense of authority is simply not known to them. Secondly, there needs to be some change to the bail laws in Victoria, Mr Deputy Speaker. Under the current bail laws in Victoria, Section 4 of the Bail Act states, and I quote, "Any person accused of an offence and being held in custody in relation to that offence shall be granted bail." Not may be granted bail, not may apply for bail, but the presumption here is in favour of the person being charged and, as the section says, shall be granted bail. That's the law which applies to the bail justices in Victoria, and I suggest that if we're going to effectively deal with gangs of the like that we've got in the state, then a change to that is required. Finally, Deputy Speaker, we need to look again at settlement services. As many in this place would know, a decade ago I warned about this, and I said that if settlement services do not keep up to date with what's happening in relation to new immigrants coming from various communities to Australia, then we have problems on our hands. A decade ago I was ridiculed in some quarters for saying that and said that this wasn't appropriate. 10 years later, the reality is that it's continued. Had we taken heed of that warning then some of the problems we're facing now in Victoria might have been avoided. But in any event, these matters have to be addressed, otherwise this will continue to terrorise people in Victoria.
I thank